So CCDA 9 is a very important conference because it is designed to prepare Africa to participate in COP26. As you know, COP26 is happening in a context that is defined first by the COVID pandemic, and secondly by the need to operationalize the Paris Agreement. We know already that the current mechanisms of the Paris Agreement to mitigate global warming are currently not sufficient to reach the target of 1.5 degrees or even 2 degrees. The world is on a path to warm by more than 2 degrees with the current nationally determined contributions. And COP26 is designed to increase the ambition to ensure that, in fact, we come back onto a sustainability path. But secondly, also, this is happening where the global economies are recovering from the impacts of COVID, and much of the recovery investment has been to other countries than other continents than to Africa. So what CCDA has been trying to do is to actually contribute to African positions on what needs to be done in order to make COP26 successful. And we have successfully established during these past 5 days that firstly, there needs to be greater contribution to climate change adaptation in Africa, and that we need to ensure that the global goal of meeting $100 billion per year is achieved by 2020, which is last year, but also that by 2023 we begin to look at mobilizing on providing additional finance beyond the $100 billion per year. We've also agreed that the COP itself should be accessible to everyone. That is, that conditions should be put in place to ensure that all parties should have the possibility of participating in person without any hindrances, paying attention, of course, to COVID protocols and related provisions. We have also established that Africa's special needs and circumstances should be recognized in the implementation of the Paris Agreement. So this is to say that in Africa in particular, the implementation of climate change response measures should be done in a way which continues to support the continent's development objectives, but also that certain mechanisms should be put in place to ensure that the continent can, for instance, invest very quickly in closing the energy gap by being allowed to continue using natural gas, which we know is not going to contribute much to greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere. And finally, we have also agreed that the COP participation should be inclusive. That is that all of the different stakeholders should have equal opportunity to participate and participate meaningfully in the COP. So women, young people, other marginalized and vulnerable groups should not only be recognized but should make meaningful participation and contributions to the COP process. So these are some of the major achievements of the COP26 of the CCDA. But significantly, this is a meeting which has been hosted by Cabo Verde, and it has recognized the circumstances of African small island developing states. And these also need to be taken into account in the final outcomes of COP26. So we are very pleased with the CCDA. The process has been very productive, has been very inclusive, and we hope that the outcomes will be reflected in the outcomes of the COP26.